What's up, everyone? This is GabagoolTube. Today we're diving deep into something that's been bothering me, and that's the Illumination Super Mario movies, specifically the new Super Mario Galaxy film. Now, before you click away thinking it's just another angry rant, hear me out. I'm coming at this as someone who has been playing Mario for 30 years, loves Nintendo, loves animation, and genuinely wants these movies to be good. But man, we really need to talk about what went wrong here. Let's get into it. So let me start with my basic thesis here. I genuinely believe the Super Mario Galaxy is creatively bankrupt. Now, I know that sounds harsh, but let me explain what I mean by that. There is no humor, no emotion, no character, no story, no style, and no fun to be had at all. Scenes blend into one another with no rhyme or reason, with next to zero connective tissue. Anytime something close to interesting might happen, it moves on to the next thing with no room to breathe. And also, it doesn't even allow attempts at jokes to play out without moving on. Honestly, it feels like Nintendo commissioned Illumination to make 100 minutes worth of TikToks to release in theaters as a promotional stunt. But that might sound like boomer talk, but stick with me here because I think there's something genuinely concerning about this approach. So regarding the overstimulation thing, this movie is constantly dangling keys in front of your eyes. There's always something moving, always a reference, always a callback, and always noise. And look, I get that we all have shorter attention spans than we used to, but there's a difference between engaging children and just assaulting their senses. Good children's entertainment, think Pixar, think Studio Ghibli, and even think the better DreamWorks stuff, understands that kids can handle quiet moments, character development, and emotional beats. But this movie seems designed for kids that have been raised by iPads. That feels kind of evil to me. It's not teaching kids to engage with story or character, it's training them to need constant stimulation. And that's not what Mario represents as a brand. Mario games are about exploration, discovery, and mastery. They reward patience and skill. These movies reward, having functioning eyeballs. It's such a disconnect for what makes the game special. Nintendo as a brand has been associated with creating some of the most imaginative, fun video games ever. And this is what we were calling acceptable for their movies. I am just asking for the most basic care to story structure and character. These movies have no imagination, just empty references and Easter eggs. If that's all you want out of a Mario movie, then there's nothing I could say that will ever sway your opinion. Call me Unk or not a true gamer or a paid shill that doesn't like fun or understand what audiences really want, I don't care. Here's the thing, I think the Sonic movies succeed where these movies fail. Those movies are fun, have genuine comedic timing, and there really is no better special effect than Jim Carrey. I'm okay with the references and Easter eggs because they give me something to latch onto. Sonic and Tom's relationship in those movies is at least an attempt at emotion. Now take the third act of the Super Mario Galaxy movie. How much cooler would those handsomely animated action scenes be if we actually gave a shit about what was happening on screen? It's a bummer, but whatever, this movie isn't for me and it's going to gross $1 billion, so what do I know? Remember the 1993 live action movie? Yes, that one. I personally think it's better than both of the animated offerings thus far. Sure, it's a bizarre bastardization of a beloved IP, but the production design looks amazing to this day, and it's so deranged it's kind of unforgettable. I am not saying it's some secret masterpiece, it absolutely is not. It's a pretty dumb script and many, many questionable design choices. But you know what? That was a Mario movie I grew up with. When I was a kid, I didn't care it didn't look like the games. They made a movie of Mario in it, and Yoshi, and Luigi, and Bowser, and Toad. As a kid, it didn't matter that a Hollywood studio did not respect the source material. My own imagination was able to map on the connections between the games and the movies, and that was enough. The worst thing about that movie is that it scared off Nintendo from adapting their properties for another 30 years. Now we have these super safe, corporate-approved adaptations with zero personality. Again, these movies are for today's kids, but can we at least get some sort of emotional through line? The Mario animated films were directed by the Teen Titans Go guys, and to take a page out of their Cartoon Network colleagues, Adventure Time is a similar set of nonsense characters. In just an 11-minute episode of Adventure Time, you could get on board with Finn and Princess Bubblegum's relationship and root for them. Why can't something similar happen here with Mario and Peach or literally anyone else in this movie? Yes, Adventure Time is aimed at slightly older kids, but there are things you can do if you put any thought into it at all and write engaging characters. Again, I am not expecting Miyazaki. I am merely hoping for Shrek at this point. Not a dig, I love Shrek, but you know what I mean. I hope the Legend of Zelda movie is better than this. It gives me some hope that Wes Ball is a big fan of the franchise and did a pretty good job with the Last Apes movie, and it's not being made up by Illumination, but, anything could happen. At the end of the day, I'm not the target demo, so my opinion is probably invalid, but I will recommend, if you haven't done so already, please go see Hoppers. Now that is an animated film that absolutely rocks.